and elevating themselves. Um, Today, I wanted to share some knowledge, man. We all in this continuous struggle to develop ourselves for growth in life, spiritual development, and and things of that nature, so on and so forth. Um, One of the topics that I want to speak about today, very briefly, is developing your psychic ability as a conjurer. Because for the most part, just in my opinion, it's that when we develop our psychic ability, we often are taught to connect our psychic ability to rituals. And so, what I'm here to say right now today is that there is a part of magic. There is a part of magic because you are magic. I am magic. She is magic. We are magic. And because of that, I think for the most part, developing your psychic ability, we should be able to tap into the forces of nature minus rituals. It's very important to understand that there is a part of being magical that expresses the ability to tap into the forces of nature without rituals. You see, and this is called a projection of your will. So when you project your will, your true intent out into the universe, you don't need to ritualize it, you need to actualize it. So when you actualize your intent, that is the inner ritual that you do within yourself, kind of pretty much to expand and project your consciousness out into reality, to draw those things to you that you intend to manifest. So today I'm speaking with Miss Sunfire, and I want to ask her a few questions about her understanding on the ability to tap into the power of the universe minus rituals. So here we go. How you doing today?
Finding
I
yourself.
know that's right. All right. So what I want to talk about, my question to you is, do you think it's possible as a conjurer to tap into the forces of nature, tap into the force of the earth, tap into the force of the trees, tap into the force of the atmosphere, water, and all the elements
Hmm.
without actually doing a ritual to do it?
Absolutely.
How?
Because you are the tool. I'm the tool. So I don't have to have rituals and or tools to do anything because I am magic. I don't do magic. So just the whole concept of knowing that I am all encompassing and all that I need is all that I need in order to do what it is I need to do as far as conjuring is concerned.
Mm,
That being said, you can tap into nature, the nature external and the nature internal of yourself, and marry the two or synthesize the two in agreement and do the work that you need to do without any other tool or without any other ritual.
okay. So I mean, like, do you think that there is more power in ritualizing your intent versus the non-ritualization of your intent? It's more like if I do a money ritual, right?
Hmm.
With that money ritual where I grab some bezos and I grab some anisa and different elements,
Sentiment.
the cinnamon, yeah, yeah,
Hmm.
and different elements, if I grab these elements out of nature and compile them and project my consciousness
Hmm.
into those elements for a manifestation, is that more powerful than me internalizing that ritual and using my inner altar, my inner consciousness to project my will into the universe without actually gathering elements from nature? Is that possible?
It's possible. Whether it's more powerful, I think the power again lies within you.
Hmm.
Okay, so that equates to intention or declarations or however you want your consciousness.
Hmm.
I think what helps or what adds to your consciousness or what adds to your faith is a layering of doing other things. But you don't have to do any of that. Like you said, I don't have to use anything in order to manifest what I need to manifest, right? So you can do it through visualization. You can do it through emotion and emoting and feeling the thing that you're trying to bring into fruition.
Hmm.
So no, I don't have to use any of those other spices and herbs. I just think it's great to add them um, as a layering. It adds to the intention, it adds to your declaration, and it could possibly add to your faith, but it's not necessary.
All right, so my question would be, How does a ritual, how does what you ritualize for
Mhm.
your manifestation, how do you project your consciousness into the ritual that you put together so that the ritual can project your consciousness either further into the universe?
I think it goes without saying. I really think that people don't recognize that what they're doing with their tools. Well, let me say this: if they're relying on the power of the tools only,
Hmm.
then that's the problem. However, if they are projecting synthesizing their consciousness
Hmm.
and their will and their emotion or whatever needs to happen, their energy in motion,
Hmm.
whatever needs to happen, in conjunction with the tools, that's powerful. But if they're looking for power to come through their action with the tool only, I think that is misappropriating your magic.
Right, right, right.
Yeah.
And for me, I think that a lot of emphasis has been placed more on rituals
Yes, absolutely.
than the creation of the true power of your will and the projection of your true power of your will into the universe.
Absolutely.
From my perspective, I view rituals as training wheels
Mm-hmm.
to psychic development.
Absolutely.
So rituals were originally, from my perspective, originally designed and created as a guiding tool
Mm-hmm.
to how to project your consciousness.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? So now, my belief is that after you've developed the ability
Mm-hmm.
to use the training wheels
Mm-hmm.
of psychic development, which are the rituals, then you move on to ride the bicycle yourself.
Yeah.
So the whole idea is learning how to ride this psychic development bicycle. So you start with the rituals because this helps you develop psychic ability by learning how to channel into the work,
Mm-hmm.
learning how to channel into nature. But once you learn through ritualizations
Mm-hmm.
on how to channel, it prepares you to learn how to ride the bike yourself.
Mm-hmm.
So now when you're doing your work is basically on its own. It comes from within you straight directly into the universe
Mm-hmm.
versus going from you through a ritual and into the
Into the universe.
universe.
Mm-hmm.
So by developing your psychic ability to its highest extent, what you're actually doing is bypassing the middleman.
Mm-hmm.
So the ritual is actually the middleman between you and the projection of your consciousness into the universe. So yes, rituals serve a purpose in the initial stages
Mm-hmm.
of psychic development.
Mm-hmm.
They're training wheels to help you get along,
Mm-hmm.
but once you develop the ability to know how to ride that bike,
Mm-hmm.
you no longer need training wheels.
Yeah, there's a truth to that. I know we differ a little bit, only from the standpoint of understanding the need for nature communication. Like,
Hmm.
so for me, when I use herbs, because I'm an herbalist, I use herbs, but I recognize the herbs as being spirit itself.
Hmm.
And so with that spirit, I synthesize my spirit and my energy with that spirit. And
Hmm.
then in communion, we together, the herbs that I utilize, then do the work. But for me, it's already recognizing that the power in the herb is also the power in me. So
Hmm.
it's more of an agreement between the two. And so I don't rely solely, again, I don't rely solely on the herbs. I definitely rely more on my intuitive self.
Hmm.
But I work with the aid of spirit that manifests through whatever herb that I need in that way.
Right, right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I totally agree because trees, the earth, nature, it has ashe inside of it.
Uh,
Okay,
yeah.
it has energy,
Yeah.
and that energy is a psychic energy. It's a psychic energy consciousness or whatever we call it.
Mm-hmm.
And so, being that these trees are living entities, they have energy. The
Mm-hmm.
moment we separate a leaf, the
Mm-hmm.
moment we separate a leaf from that tree, that actual leaf begins the process of releasing its ashe.
Mm-hmm.
And see, this is the purpose of why when you go to a tree or you go to a plant and you remove it from the ground,
Mm-hmm.
this is why many of our ancestors have taught that we say a particular prayer
Mm-hmm.
or we give some honor or reverence to
Mm-hmm.
the earth because we're doing an energy exchange.
Absolutely.
But actually, it's not actually an exchange, it's an
Mm-hmm.
energy transfer.
I
So
can
when
work with
we
that.
pull a leaf from the tree, right then and there, that tree itself contains the mass of its energy. But when
Mm-hmm.
we pull that leaf off, that leaf begins a disconnection process from the overall essence of the tree.
Mm-hmm.
And the leaf has its own individual ash shape that begins to release after you pull it. So by pulling something, disconnecting a leaf from the tree, it begins to die, is what we're taught. But what's happening is that the energy is releasing from it gradually. That's why we can take a leaf and put it on this table, and in
Mm-hmm.
about an hour or two, it begins to turn
Flip.
brown
Mm-hmm.
because it's releasing the
Mm-hmm.
energy that's held inside of it.
Mm-hmm.
So when we go with a ritual and we go to a tree and we remove leaves
Mm-hmm.
from that tree, what's happening is we're channeling our energy to absorb
Mm-hmm.
the energy from the leaves, from the plants that we pull, because we understand that the moment we pull it, the energy within inside of it begins to release automatically, naturally. So
Mm-hmm.
we use our psychic ability to pull that energy into us,
Mm-hmm.
and then we mentally channel
Mm-hmm.
that energy out into the universe, or we mentally channel that energy into a ritual.
Somebody was saying things easy.
You see?
Mm-hmm.
It's either way. It's either way. So, but I'm in the understanding of removing the middleman.
Mm-hmm.
So, if you want to remove the middleman, first thing you do when you learn how to channel your psychic ability is you remove the ritual.
Mm-hmm.
Remove the ritual and focus more on the psychic projection of your will and intent.
Well, something I do, depending on what work I'm doing, what kind of conjuring I'm doing.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes whatever herb I'm using, I
Mm-hmm.
create a tea or an infusion,
Mm.
and then I use that infusion within the ritual so that I can synthesize myself naturally with the herb, and then I project it out. Like, so I'll drink the tea and say whatever, and then work with the herbs dry
Mm-hmm.
in the conjuring,
Mm-hmm.
but then take it into myself as a
Absolutely.
connection,
Yeah,
communion.
and that is another. That's like
Your
another.
phone about to die.
Yeah, that's like another method of psychic development. It's like when you're doing work, you use the same herbs
Mhm.
that you put into your work, like a
Yep.
mojo bag or
Yep.
something.
Mhm.
The same herbs you put into there is the same herbs you put into a tea. As you channel your energy into the mojo or into your juju, you channeling that same energy into your body
Yep.
by drinking the tea that contains the same formula
Yep.
that you put into your work. So
Absolutely.
you're like double enhancing
Yep.
your psychic will. But even from a ritual aspect, that ritual sounds good in formula.
Mhm.
But are you actually channeling your psychic ability, or are you actually focusing more on the ritual having more power than your projection?
My psychic ability. I focus more on the psychic ability.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
And again, the ritual. Um, when we think of rituals, rites, we also connect rituals with religion. And so, as a
Right.
non-religious person,
Mm-hmm.
even though I do rituals, but
Mm-hmm.
I am my own religion.
Right.
And so, me being my own religion means I can do whatever it is that I want to do
Mm-hmm.
in order to achieve whatever it is I'm trying to achieve.
Mm.
And so, then with that, I do sometimes make a ritual, but
Mm-hmm.
it comes out of me. It is me. It's part of what I'm doing as well. And so, I use that in my conjuring. But again, just to go back on what you were saying, I believe that the psychic ability is definitely more a little bit more powerful if you're able to um, hone in or focus your psychic ability, because you don't need a card.
Mm-hmm.
You don't need an herb. You don't have to have an herb. I do understand that even in hoodoo, the root work portion or root work in hoodoo is the synthesizing and the marrying and the connection between the consciousness of the plant and your consciousness. I understand all of that, but I also know that whatever is in that plant is in me. Whatever is in the earth is in me. Whatever is in the universe is in me. So we're one in the self same. In Christianity, it says one in the self same spirit. So I know that in this triune marriage or connection that I have,
Hmm.
that we are all one and the same. And so I'm actually the vehicle that carries right here the air. Want to turn it down a little bit? Stuck in chat.
I'm back in the chat. So I want to look at some of the questions that you guys got and see what we can put together. Because I saw some comments that were interesting. Voodoo Mother says it is mind, body, and spirit, and I feel like these are what we work with to give us results. Um, yes, I totally agree. We work with nature, but I think the conversation I've been having today is that we've been having is having the ability to kind of pretty much tap into nature outside of the extraction of elements and things in nature. Like, what happens when a conjurer rules the rituals? What happens when conjurers say, well, we don't practice rituals? We conjure from within to without. We conjure straight directly from the universe and we project it out to the universe. It's multiple conversations to be had about psychic development and conjure and the ritualization process and using rituals versus projection of your will into the universe. There's a lot of people that think that rituals are old. A lot of people think that the rituals and using rituals are old processes of developing psychic ability. And I tend to stand on the line with that. Me personally, I stand on the line. Because rituals are old techniques that our ancestors used to enhance their psychic development. But as the world moves on, we become more aware, consciousness expands, we come into contact with methods that are more modernized, methods that are more proven for this day and age that we're in now. So it's just very important to understand that everything has to grow and expand, even spiritual practices. And a lot of times we connect ourselves or we over connect ourselves to yesterday when we should be projecting our consciousness into the future for the development that really is going to be progressive for us. So, so what I'm teaching a lot lately is the projection of your intent, the projection of your will into the future. For many of us, it's complex because we've been taught ancestral practices that keeps us focused on what happened yesterday. And so for the main part, we don't want to necessarily get ourselves too caught up in the energy of the past. And we, as conjurers, we're moving forward into the future. We're moving forward into the universe. The universe is expanding, yes. So we should expand our consciousness and stop trying to necessarily project our consciousness backwards and try our hardest to project our consciousness into the future. All right, guys, this is Madison Man. I just wanted to drop some of those jewels on you real quick. I hope that everybody who's listening to this live can learn from it and grow from it. We're all students of life. We're all growing. We're all students of life, and this is what it is. So peace. Y'all be blessed. Enjoy.